sun is shining in Barcelona and the cars are on the grid for the final race of the 2018 Blancpain GT Sports Club, a special series for GT3 racers for drivers who want to take the step up from club to professional level racing. And here it is, the main race. We had the 25-minute race yesterday afternoon, the qualifying race. This will be 40 minutes in duration. Track conditions absolutely perfect here at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. And we had a wonderful race yesterday, won by Coach McKenzie and the number 17 Lamborghini. There it is, right at the sharp end of the grid. And he was made to work all the way to the finish. Eventually won by 2 seconds from this year's champion, Karim Oj, in the Boots-on-Ginian BMW. But at many occasions it was way, way closer than that. There is that BMW M6. Karim Oj, such a strong season. But Coach McKenzie, less experienced German racer, just gaining speed almost with every single outing, which is the very aim of this championship. As well as having fun, it's about developing drivers, and certainly Karim Oj, who's raced in Le Mans 24 Hours, has more experience, and he really tried everything yesterday but couldn't get to the very sharpest point of the field. Wasn't for want of trying. AF Corsa's Patrick van Glavica, Belgian racer, will start his Ferrari from third on the grid. So that's Lamborghini from BMW, from Ferrari. And then just to keep the manufacturer's interest going, in fourth place, Herbert Motorsport, the 991 entry. Edward Lewis Browner, another driver who is really, really starting to pick up the pace. We have 17 cars coming out to play. Great mix of manufacturers, great mix of nationalities. And of course, there's the extra 2 classes, the Titanium Cup and the Cup for drivers aged 60 and over, fiercely contested with that's driver 60 and over, with Klaus-Dieter Freres just leading that from Stephen Earle. Karim Oj has won the overall title. He can't be toppled now with the Titanium Cup, so really the championship to be sorted in this 40 minutes race ahead of us is the Iron Cup. We'll come to the charges in that as we work our way down the field. So on the front row of the grid, we've got Coach McKenzie in that green Lamborghini, entered by HP Racing International. On the right-hand side of the grid, the black Boots-on-Ginian Racing BMW of this year's champion, Karim Oj. Behind him, the Herbert Motorsport Porsche, Edward Lewis Browner. On the left of screen, Patrick van Glavica, the Belgian racer's very, very attractive-looking Ferrari with those yellow flashes on the door. Behind him, another Ferrari, BMS Scuderia Italia. You can spot their famous red and white stripes over the roof. That's Luigi Lucchini and Angelique de Tavernier, who goes better and better. She was 6th yesterday and looking to improve from there, starting 6th today. Her red Ferrari on the right of the grid. Then Jürgen Hering, his Porsche on the left of the grid. The 111 Kessel Racing Ferrari. That's Stephen Earle, who's trying to hunt down the car that's starting behind him on the right hand of the grid. Number 3, Arteca Rennsport's Klaus-Dieter Freres. He's a 5-point advantage. Alongside him, Claude-Yves Gosselin in the Lamborghini Gallardo, entered by Boots-on-Ginian. Then we go back to the car collection motorsport, Dirk Parkhofer's Audi, alongside Louis-Philippe Sonin, the white and green Ferrari on the left of screen. Then Frédéric Fangio, French racer with that very famous surname, starting on the left of the grid for AF Corsa. And the BMW M6, the second one on the grid, that's from 3Y Technology, Jean-Paul Bouffin. Dilanta Malamagua, he is the Sri Lankan racer in the 224 Lamborghini on the left, right of screen. 333 Ferrari from Rinaldi Racing, that's Russian racer Vadim Kodai. Bring up the rear, as he was yesterday, Roberto Ranieri in the AMG SLS Mercedes. That's the one with the gull-wing doors, kept up high to keep the temperature down as low as he possibly can, because it's a warm day here, a wonderful day right at the end of September at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. Yesterday the racing was fast and furious, a brilliant start from pole position from Coach McKenzie, but Patrick van Glavica, 3rd on the grid yesterday, he got up to muscle his way into 2nd position, but halfway around the opening lap, Karim Oj just pointed out that he was this year's champion. He was going through, and thereafter the front 2 started to escape, and then from 3rd down to about 9th position, they were nose for tail for the middle sector of the race. Really, really exciting. Are we going to be treated to another battle for the lead like yesterday? Let's hope so. It was absolutely wonderful. The season kicked off in Monza. Just listen to the circuit, you'll understand why people want to race these fantastic cars on these brilliant circuits. Monza, Paul Ricard, Misano on the east coast of Italy, Spa-Francorchamps, Hungaroring, and now Barcelona. All but one of those are Grand Prix circuits, and the drivers really, really seem to grow and grow into this series. Only started in 2015. This is the end of the 4th season, and it's growing and growing. The level of cars is getting better, the number of cars is better all the time. The drivers are learning, many of the drivers having driver mentors to try and help them improve their form. Don't forget, a lot of these drivers, their main role in life is being successful business people. This is where they come to play, but of course they're serious in business, so there's a huge amount of focus on all these drivers on getting quicker, on beating their own previous times. Coach McKenzie, his green Lamborghini, down first on this formation lap to the opening corner. Of course, at Barcelona it turns right and then immediately left through turns 1 and 2. Then the track starts to rise up towards a right-hander that just keeps on giving. Turn 3 goes on and on and on. And then eventually the track flattens out on the run to turn 4. Cars behind need to just pick up the pace a little bit. We don't want the front two cars coming around too far ahead, because they'll be excuse me, taking a rolling start, so we need them in 2x2 formation at the end of the lap. Worth reiterating, 17 cars out to play here, right the way down to Roberto Rainieri. Look for the white GDL Racing Mercedes at the back of the field. Should be coming to the back of the shot any moment now. 2 more cars. In fact, he was the next one coming into view. Need the field to bunch up on the formation lap, get into 2x2 formation. Certainly the drivers at the front, Coach McCanty and Karim Ojay, very, very conversant with how they're supposed to be around this lap. Again, just reiterate, combination of cars at the front of the grid, the variety, a Lamborghini starting on pole ahead of a BMW, ahead of Ferrari, ahead of a Porsche, and then first manufacturer to get 2 cars at the front end of the grid is Ferrari, and they have 5th and 6th places on the grid. Now the field starting as it goes down the infield straight, the descent from turn 9 to turn 10, they're starting to get a bit closer together, of course, weaving around, trying to get some heat into the tyres. Then there's the climb up to turn 12, the Lamborghini of poleman Coach McCanty just sweeping through that long uphill right-handed. The crowd's in to watch an absolutely packed day of motor racing. One race literally leading straight into the next here, and a wonderful way to sort of see out the Spanish summer. Patrick Van Glaviker in 3rd position now, starting to close in. In fact, the drivers had 2 formation laps just to give them a bit more of a chance to get heat in their tyres. This is the one at which they need to slow down. Next time around they'll be looking for the lights on the starting gantry turning from red to green. The field really has spread out quite a bit. As you can see down the long start-finish straight, the first 3 cars have managed to get close enough to each other, but the car in 4th place waiting for Edward Lewis Browner coming down the slope. Now the midfield coming through. Stephen Earle in the 111 Ferrari from Kessel Racing. He is 5. So just look, I'm just going to run you down the Iron Cup running there. That is the battle still to be sorted. Klaus-Dieter Freres, he's starting from 10th on the grid in the number 3 Bottega Rennsport Ferrari. He has a 5-point lead over Stephen Earle, who's 2 places on the grid further ahead of him. So the second sighting lap for this 17-car field, the final round of the 4th series, the Blancpain GT Sports Club. And the Sports Club Champion of the Year, Karim Ojay, he's also leading the race in the Titanium Cup. He's landed that title as well. The cup up for grabs is the cup for drivers aged 60 and more. And in Stephen Earle's case, 60 is some while ago. He's 70 and a little bit, but brimful of energy. He's 5 points down. He's got to do absolutely everything, see what he can do about toppling his rival, Klaus-Dieter Freres. He's ahead on the track. He's going to have to stay there and hope that some of the Iron Cup rivals from behind, like Louis-Philippe Sonin, start to make their pressure felt on Klaus-Dieter Freres. More of that later. What we had yesterday was a brilliant 25-minute race, racing from the front of the field right the way down to the back. Some really great tussles that went on, not just for a few corners, but for lap after lap. So all the drivers will have learnt very well indeed how to get close to other cars. Whether they've learned how to pass them, we will see, but there certainly was overtaking yesterday. But in the heat of the action, who knows what will lie ahead of us. Great crowds here on Sunday, a wonderful sunny Sunday at the circuit, Catalunya, Barcelona. And as you can see, they are now in the what the doctor ordered as they go through turn 12. It's the 2x2 formation. Of course, they get a little bit shuffled as they go through the chicane, but once they sort out that turn 14-15 combination and then start to flow through the downhill right-hander that leads onto the start-finish race, the last corner of the lap, turn 16, they must be back in 2x2 formation. Their eyes up to the starting gantry, looking for the colours of the lights. When they're red, they cannot go. As soon as they go green, of course they can. They can plant the throttles and down to the first corner. Yesterday, already we're seeing Patrick Van Glaviker in that 488 Ferrari is showing he's ready to try and make a move on Karim Ojay. Into turn 16 they come, they sweep through the lights, are still red, looking at the starting gantry. Drivers waiting. It's a longer hold than some of them might have hoped for, but they're now in perfect 2x2 formation. Angelita Stefanier trying to go up the inside and make a pass. She's already got herself past the Porsche of Edward Lewis Browner, but the poleman, Coach McKenzie, has got the job done down the slope to the first corner. Again, Patrick Van Glavica has demoted Karim Oje. He's challenged up the inside by Luigi Lucchini, who has to back off, and Van Glavica was keen through turn 16, even more keen down into turn 1, takes the lead of the race from Coach McKenzie, who was a little bit cautious, but probably with reason. Karim Oje started second down to fourth. He'll be frustrated with that. And likewise, Angelita Stefanier has gone forward. She's gone up from 6th to 5th, and you can see she is now under pressure, being attacked back. A 55 Ferrari just holding to that 5th place, and the man on the move there is the man determined to land the Iron Cup. Up from the 4th row, challenging for 5th place, Stephen Earle. The stars will be bristling inside his helmet. He'll be loving all of this. The fact he's also managed to gain several places over his Iron Cup rival, Klaus-Dieter Freres, will put an even bigger grin on his face, but Klaus-Dieter is not hanging back either. He has gained places, so as one gains, the other does, and that cancels it all out. Delanta Malamagua seems to have gained about 4 places from the back of the grid in his black and pink Lamborghini. But what a start from Patrick Van Glavica, third on the grid. He not only has taken the lead down into the first corner, he's now starting to drop yesterday's best driver, Coach McKenzie. Karim Oje not looking as though he's moving forward to 4th place just yet. The driver who went a little bit backwards was Jürgen Hering, the number 66 Porsche. He's lost about 4 places, fallen down to about 12th or 13th position. Down to the chicane for the first time, turns 14 and 15 of this 16-turn circuit. Now Coach McKenzie just trying to get Luigi Lucchini's Ferrari off his tail. Karim Oje going backwards rather than forward. He's got Angelita Stefanier all over his tail. He's in 4th, but he's dropped really quite a distance back off the tail of Luigi Lucchini. The first 3 are clear, and then it's nose to tail for about the next 8 positions. Look at that gaggle of cars coming down the start-finish straight. There is our race leader. So it's Van Glavica, McKenzie, Lucchini, then there's the gap, then Karim Oje in that black BMW twitching a bit, under braking Angelita Stefanier down there, and now trying to make his way back forward after a poor start. Edward Lewis Browner going around the outside of Stephen Earle, the Iron Cup leader, in 7th place now. Was 6th on the start-finish line, passed for position down into turn 1. First 3 continue getting away, and now it looks like Karim Oje is just starting to drop. Far less experienced Angelita Stefanier. She's got lots of pressure because she's got Edward Lewis Browner in that 991 Porsche right on her tail, looking this way, looking that, diving up the inside into turn 5. That looks as though it may work. De Tavernier had wasn't quite enough space. De Tavernier turned in, and suddenly Edward Lewis Browner realised there wasn't going to be enough space. They were going to clash, so he went for a little half spin, and look, that's dropped him down to about 15th place. He's coming out alongside Frederic Fangio. Fangio was 13th on the start-finish line, so that is his position now. So we'll see a drive back up through the field from Edward Lewis Browner. Just maybe if he'd been half a car length further forward. It's taking the pressure off to Tavernier. She's now got a tiny bit of a gap. Back to Stephen Earle. Klaus-Dieter Freres, who's leading the Iron Cup. Let's take a look at the start all over again. Looks like Coach McKenzie in the green Lamborghini had it all done, but braking super late into the corner. Patrick Van Glavica took the lead in the race. Luigi Lucchini 5th up to 3rd. From 2nd on the grid, the black BMW of Karim Oje back to 4th. First 3, not quite nose to tail, but very close indeed. Again, it's Van Glavica coming round to complete the 2nd lap. Looks like he's got about a second's advantage over Coach McKenzie's Lamborghini. Luigi Lucchini tucked in behind in 3rd place. 0.953 of a second was the gap between 1st and 2nd. There they go, down the descent into turn 1, and then Frederic Fangio, he's gone for a little bit of a spin. That will drop him right to the tail of the field. Just for Roberto Ranieri to go past him. We saw the BMW of Jean-Paul Bouffin. So Fangio will have to wait for that before spinning his Ferrari back round and continuing on his way. Still 32 and a bit minutes of racing. This is the main race, the 40-minute race. Delanta Malamagua, I said on the first lap he was going well. He started down in 16th position. He's up to 7th. Keep an eye on him. He's really flying in his Lamborghini. There is Malamagua, Sri Lankan. Just making it look very easy indeed, and he must be becoming a friend of Klaus-Dieter Freres, because what he's not a Klaus-Dieter Freres, of Stephen Earle, because I was going to say he's keeping Freres behind him, which will help Earle's championship challenge in the Iron Cup. But as I say that, the Lamborghini goes a little bit backwards, and in fact he's about to lose another position because Jürgen Hering is starting to come through in the 66 Porsche. Or is he? No, he isn't, not at that particular point in the circuit. Claude Gosselin tucked in behind in the pale blue Lamborghini. So, as I said before the race, there will be racing, there will be close racing. And we've got the first three breaking clear, the second three slightly strung out, then Klaus-Dieter Freres, Iron Cup leader in 7th place. Lights are flashing, but here is the Iron Cup challenger, Stephen Earle in the 111 Kessel Racing Ferrari, doing all he can do. He's just got to press on. He cannot really worry himself about where Klaus-Dieter Freres is, and unfortunately for him, he can see him directly behind him, and if they stay in those positions, in fact, that would be good news for Stephen Earle. He said, tripping himself up, because he thought to take just enough points to take the title, but Klaus-Dieter Freres, now free of that group, is starting to get the hammer down. And unfortunately, Angelique de Tavernier, I said she pulled sort of slightly to one side at the start. She's judged to have jumped at the start. She's got a drive-through penalty coming her way. So as it is, yes, 2 points extra. Well, he takes 7 points extra for winning the race, starting 5 points behind. Stephen Earle will take the Iron Cup if he stays where he is. It's up to this man on our screen, the Artega Rennsport Ferrari racer, Klaus-Dieter Freres, to not just close in on him or catch him, it's to pass him. He has to pass him. So it's victory or nothing for these drivers. That actually makes it a whole lot simpler. And an incident between cars 333 and 53, that's Vadim Kogai's Rinaldi Ferrari and the spun AF Corsa of Frédéric Fangio under investigation. So that's presumably why Fangio was facing the wrong way in the track, a move that's left him down 17th and last in this field. Blancpain having taken the lead, I thought on yesterday's form Coach McKenzie would haul him in, but that is not the case. Gap between first and second, it was just under a second, it's now out to 1.3 seconds, and this lap alone, it looks as though it's starting to extend. Oh, there's the answer. Car 333, Vadim Kogai, the Russian racer for Rinaldi Racing. He has been adjudged to, of course, that spin for Frédéric Fangio's Ferrari. He's got a drive-through penalty, so that will drop him down from where he's running at the moment in 12th place to the tail of the field. After 4 laps, 1.8 seconds now is the advantage for Van Glavica in the lead of the race. 2 Porsches running together in the group, just behind Claude-Yves Gosselin's Lamborghini. They'd rather be further up. They qualified better than that, but they're 10th and 11th moment. Jürgen Hering, the 66 car, now starting to try and make a move. And having qualified in 4th place, you really feel that, unfortunately for Herbert's Motorsport, Edward Lewis Browner expected to be high, had that spin, and that really cost him as he was fighting to get down the inside of Tavernier. Tavernier just sliding her way through the pits at the moment, serving her drive-through penalty. So everybody else from 5th place down will go up the order. The 333 Ferrari is in the pit lane as well. Van Glavica now 2 whole seconds clear of Coach McKenzie. There's the 333 Ferrari. Vadim Kogai serving his drive-through penalty. So 2 Ferraris in one lap, a red one and a green one. De Tavernier, there she comes at the pit exit, and Vadim Kogai in the green one. He too will re-emerge, but that will put them to the very back of this 17-car field. In fact, they'll come out just ahead of Roberto Ranieri's Mercedes and the BMW of Jean-Paul Bouffin. And Frédéric Fangio's delayed Ferraris. In fact, they could have about 3 cars behind them, but anyhow, down towards the tail. But going the opposite way from down towards the tail is Patrick Van Glavica. 2 seconds flat clear each lap. He seems to extend it. So, yes, this is in cooler conditions than yesterday's race. That's the thing. The difference in temperature between morning and late afternoon here has been really marked this weekend, and certainly in yesterday afternoon's rather warmer weather, it seemed Coach McKenzie had the answer to all of the questions. Today, not so much the case, or maybe it's the case that Patrick Van Glavica has, I was going to say helped himself. Talking of helping himself, there's 2 Porsches. Just decided then was the moment the Herbert Motorsport cars enjoyed that little battle between the Lamborghinis in front of them, but Claude-Yves Gosselin and Delanta Malabagua took each other. It's funny how one car runs wide and often the car chasing it just follows in, just maybe also brakes too late accordingly, just judging it's braking off the back of the car in front, and they both went wide at turn 10, and the Porsche said thank you very much. In terms of natural pace, the Porsches both out-qualified those 2 Lamborghinis, so you would expect them to pull away, but that was a golden opportunity, a pass on a plate. Klaus-Dieter Freres running clear on his own in 6th place. He's nearly 4 seconds down on Stephen Earle. Now let's take a look down the internal straight into turn 10. Claude-Yves Gosselin hugging the inside line. Malamagou on the outside, but both brake too late. The Porsches said thank you very much. So Jürgen Hering and Edward Lewis Browner, through they went. Leading the race by an ever larger margin, 2.9 seconds clear. Now Patrick Van Glavika, Coach Mackenzie, but the difference in the last few laps, apart from the extension of the lead, it looks like Coach Mackenzie's now starting to edge his way clear of Luigi Lucchini. Yes, that BMS Scuderia Italia, the car with the white stripe over its bonnet and the white stripes down its roof, that is slowing its pace, and I sense, yes indeed, Karamoje just said his best lap last time around. He's starting to do the hunting, and here come the Iron Cup fight down to turn 10. Stephen Earle leading the way, leading on points if they finish where they are. In behind him, Klaus-Dieter Freys. Two Porsches coming up to play their role in this battle. Jürgen Hering and Edward Lewis Browner picking up their skirts and starting to fly now. Stephen Earle. Stephen Earle totally on top of today's proceedings in the Iron Cup class. He started the race 5 points down on Klaus-Dieter Freys, but by running ahead of him, he's set to score 7 points more, which will give him the title. And also the overall crowd. That would be something that Stephen would be very keen to point out. He shouted that to John Watson and I as we walked through the tunnel this morning, that there's more than just the Iron Cup title for him to be aiming at. He's looking for that overall crown, and certainly really doing all he can do in that Kessel Racing Ferrari. Spends his working hours as a very successful orthopaedic surgeon, and but has a hobby, a habit. He likes to race in Europe, and he likes to race a Ferrari. So this championship, the Blancpain GT Series, the sports club for him is just exactly what the doctor ordered. And he's the doctor, so that's fine. Karamoje starting to pick up the pace, just setting fastest sector times of anyone. And now Angelique de Tavernier, she had the drive-through penalty in the number 55 Ferrari. Came through 13th last time around, just picked off Dirk Parkhofer. Another place gained. This rate of advantage for the race leader, driving absolutely fantastically. Patrick Van Glavika stretching his advantage. Actually, this lap has been a bit of a response in the first part of the lap from Coach Mackenzie, but in the middle sector of the lap is clearly where the strength is for this AF Corsa Ferrari. And Patrick Van Glavika, another lap on the board, not quite his best, just 0.08 of a second down on his very best, so he's really in the ballpark. Not here at the Sports Club points. And Karamoje has that title in his pocket. That's how they are at this point in the race, as you can see, with only 25 points for victory. He has that title in his pocket, but Coach Mackenzie's just moved ahead of Mario Cordoni, who isn't starting here this weekend. Luigi Lucchini, he needs to win the race. Mackenzie scoring nothing to get up into second place. I think we know the identity of the championship. And look at Patrick Van Glavika. A few more places lost by Luigi Lucchini, and he's about to lose one to Karamoje, and suddenly Van Glavika will be up to 4th in the title race there. Here is OJ right on the tail of Lucchini. It's been getting closer and closer. Karamoje also tops the Titanium Cup table. Maybe he just simply thought, I'm going to not take too much out of my tyres in the early phases of this race. I'll keep my Pirellis sweet. It's a longer race. Yesterday was 25 minutes in slightly hotter conditions. I must be saying, even since the start of the race, with very little cloud in the sky here, track is getting hotter and hotter. But Karamoje, he knows this BMW very well indeed. And one of the things you have to learn when you're racing sports cars and GTs is how to keep your tyres sweet. So he didn't get involved in that run down to the first corner too much, but he got jumped. And this has been the case of thinking how best to get the race back coming his way. Gap between first and second. Patrick Van Glavika and Coach Mackenzie's been staying at between 2.5 and 3 seconds. This is the battle for third place on the track. Luigi Lucchini went a little bit wide at turn 13, could just get his car back roughly into position for the chicane, but a tighter exit surely will be... I thought there was just about enough space for Karamoje to take a tighter exit, but Luigi Lucchini, wise old bird, moved back across into his path. it would have been a bit risky, and I think it really is a question of when, not if, this passing manoeuvre happens for third place. Karim Ojay starting to look at it, but what we saw yesterday, BMW M6 isn't the sleekest thing down the long straight here at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, and BMW being a bit bigger, a bit more bluff than some of its rivals. Certainly in comparison to the Lamborghini Huracan yesterday with Coach McKenzie, you can see down the start-finish straight he was losing out, but around the twisty bits he is very strong indeed. Going around the outside at turn 4, the long way round, and unfortunately the long way onto the dusty stuff and a spin, and round goes Karim Ojay. Can he get that BMW out of the gravel? Oh dearie me, I thought that was Lucchini wasn't giving him the corner. Lucchini totally entitled to the inside line, but as soon as Karim went towards the edge of the circuit, even before he hit the rumble strip on the outside, you can see the line was dirty, dust kicked up, lack of grip, round he went. So unfortunate moment in his challenge for third place. The person who's going to be, all the cars behind will be gaining a position. Klaus-Dieter Freres will be elevated up into 5th position, but right now he's not caring so much about that. He's trying to shake those two Porsches off his tail. Jürgen Hering, Edward Lewis Brown are getting closer and closer. You can see they've taken up to more than 1.5 seconds out of him in the last few laps, and everything Jürgen Hering can do, Edward Lewis Browner can do possibly even better. He was the fastest qualifier, the driver with the yellow wings on his Porsche. They are teammates though from Herbert Motorsports, so don't expect any monkey business. Trying to pick their moments. Klaus-Dieter Freres knows he cannot afford to put himself in a position where there might be a clash. Let's have a look. Karim Ojay out of turn 3, along the little straight to turn 4, decides I've got more speed, I'm braking later, I'm going round the outside, but look how dusty it is, and then as soon as he hits the white line, in fact I even sense the car was starting to go before there, and it really is diminishing returns. So for the Saudi driver, big frustration in the gravel bed at turn 4. And now down the start-finish straight, Jürgen Hering on the left in his Porsche, almost alongside Klaus-Dieter Freres. Who is going to be braver under braking into the first corner? Klaus-Dieter Freres keeps the Artega Rennsport Ferrari there. He'll have to try again. Herr Hering. Of course, this is now not the battle for 6th, but the battle for 5th, following the demise of Karim Ojay, whose name and number tumbling down the order. In the front of the race, though, Patrick Van Glavica took the lead at the start. For ages, it was 2.5 seconds clear, then it became 3. It's now 3.5 seconds advantage he has over the chasing Coach McKenzie. So yellow flags, obviously, around in sector 2, which is just starts at the point where Karim Ojay went for that spin out of turn 4. Of course, there could be no overtaking at that point in the circuit. Now Jürgen Hering pulling alongside, trying to get up the inside. Not happening there at all. Blocked off through turn 9 they go. It's still 5th place for Klaus-Dieter Freres. And all this is allowing a bit of breathing space for Stephen Earle, his Iron Cup challenger, who's now 3.5 seconds clear of this battle. You can just see Stephen Earle's Ferrari going out of the top of the picture. And here come the chasers, but right now Klaus-Dieter Freres isn't so much chasing as just hanging on. Jürgen Hering pushing it very hard in the Precom Herbert Porsche, and in behind Edward Lewis Brown, who I really fancy, trying to make up grounds for that early spin at turn 5 when he tried to overtake Angelique de Tavernier. If he could get past, he could drop for 2 of them in the 991 Porsche. Nearly 22 minutes of his 40-minute race run. It's been Patrick Van Glavica all the way, and he's not backing off his pace. He's only 2/10 down on his best ever lap. His last lap included the fastest first sector of anybody. He's now 4.4 seconds clear of Coach McKenzie. Luigi Lucchini hanging on to 3rd place, and of course he was under huge pressure from Karim Ojay. Looked as though the passing manoeuvre was going to happen in the next corner or two, but Karim Ojay got it wrong, went round the outside at turn 4 and then round completely, put his car into the gravel with a 180 spin. Patrick Van Glavica. Now the Porsches are starting to fight among each other. This might give a little bit of breathing space for the 5th place Ferrari of Klaus-Dieter Freres, because Jürgen Hering is coming, well, Fleeting is coming under pressure from Edward Lewis Brown, their teammates, but Browner, I think, will start to feel a little bit frustrated to be at the back of this pack fighting over 5th place. But in fact, as he does so, Klaus-Dieter Freres with just that tiny bit of breathing space, has been able to set his fastest first sector of anyone, but through up over the crest at turn 9, the Porsches close in all over again. There's rest, but not very much at all. And even right down at the tail of the field, 15th and 16th position there, the last two runners, still almost nose to tail. Roberto Ranieri's Mercedes ahead of Jean-Paul Pouffin's BMW. So it doesn't matter where you are on the circuit, you want someone to fight with. And with 16 and 17 cars running, there is still fighting to be had, most notably in this battle for 5th place. Klaus-Dieter Freres in the Ferrari, ahead of the two Porsches, Jürgen Hering at 66, and Edward Lewis Brown are tucked in behind in the white car with the black stripes and the yellow accents. He is in 7th. Iron Cup points leader, if we finish as they stand, in 4th place overall. Stephen Earle, he'd love a top 3 finish, but right now it's his battle with Klaus-Dieter Freres that's occupying him, much as Jürgen Hering is occupied by challenges, increasing number of challenges in his 66 Porsche, from the one behind the 991 car, Edward Lewis Brown, desperate to get past. And all of this is just giving a tiny bit of a release of pressure for the driver in 5th place, Klaus-Dieter Freres. So Karamoche, the only driver out of the race. Two of the drivers have had drive-through penalties. That was Angelique de Tavernier, and since then she's moved to 55 Ferrari. She came in from 5th place, she's back up to 11th, and she's now all over the tail of Louis-Philippe Sonnen in the number 50 Ferrari. And Delanta Malamagua in the 224 Lamborghini just in front of them as well as they started the lap. So fighting over 9th place. And the car behind her down the track, but some distance back, another dozen seconds back, is the other driver with a drive-through penalty, Vadim Kogai, the 333 Ferrari. He was pulled in for spinning Frederic Fangio's Ferrari around, and fittingly is behind him. Oh, in fact, he's not now. He's now pulled ahead of him. Here is that cracking little battle. Angelique de Tavernier, 55. She's just about to pick off Louis-Philippe Sonnen, who's not too interested in moving over in his white and green Ferrari. They are teammates for AF Corse, and that's just allowed Malamagua in the HB Racing Lamborghini to make a tiny bit of a break, but that's an interesting little battle. It might be over 9th, 10th and 11th positions, but they're going at it, absolutely. Quarter of an hour remaining in this race, and now surely this is the time that Jürgen Hering takes the position from... No, he doesn't. So Klaus-Dieter Freres again braking late. Oh, and we've had contact. I think there was a touch between the two Porsches. Oh, dearie me. They're teammates. They're on either side of the track. And just as Jürgen Hering was about to tuck into position behind Klaus-Dieter Freres, tiniest bit of a touch, and when a car's already turning into a corner, it's very easy to spin another with a nudge. And for Jürgen Hering, unfortunately, his teammate Edward Lewis Browner has tipped him into a spin, has the engine stalled. Will we get him back into the race? But he's fallen back behind Sonnen and de Tavernier. I fear that engine is dead. The car is now just sliding down the slope off the edge of the circuit. Here's de Tavernier up the inside. I don't think she's going to take no for an answer at all. Job done into turn 4 past her teammate Louis-Philippe Sonnen, and now she's got to set off after Delanta Malamagua. All of them obviously elevated by those two clashing Porsches, so instead of fighting for position, let's take a look. Was the contact between the Porsches in the background? Well, there can be no denying that Browner, even before the proper turning point for turn 2, clattered into the side of 66, his teammate Jürgen Hering, so there were probably words in garage, but put it down to experience. Neither of them were in the overall run for victory, but they were spending lap after lap trying to get past Klaus-Dieter Freres. Race leader by 4.6 seconds, Patrick Van Glavica in his AF Corsa Ferrari. Here's the car in second place, the bright green Lamborghini with the black accents. That's Coach McKenzie's favoured race livery. There's the race leader, Patrick Van Glavica, ticking off the minutes, ticking off the laps. He's got 14 laps completed. His best lap is the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 48.378 seconds. The only other driver under 1 minute 49 is the driver in second place, Coach McKenzie, but his is 6/10 of a second slower, his best lap so far. At this stage of the race, talked earlier about maybe Karim Oj was the driver who saved his tyres, but unfortunately he didn't get to finish the race. He is in the gravel bed. The driver who's not circulating on the track at the moment is the 991 Porsche, just cruising, almost engine cut down the pit lane. That was the driver, Edward Lewis Brown, who had contact with his own teammate and is just pulling up outside of his pit garage. Haven't seen signal that he's got a stop and go penalty. I think that he's coming to have any damage investigated. Coach Mackenzie, victory yesterday. Started today third on points, but Mario Cordoni not starting this weekend's races. And this gives a chance for Coach Mackenzie to move up to second place in the championship on points behind Karim Oj. Karim won't score anything today because his BMW is stuck in the gravel. Luigi Lucchini, third place for BMS Scuderia Italia, came under pressure and the pressure was relieved. Karim Oj out of the race, so he's now safe in third place. Fourth place, leading the Iron Cup, and if he finishes where they are with Klaus-Dieter Frers fifth on the track, one position behind him, that should be enough for a 7-point swing in the championship. And as he was 5 points down, that should be enough for the overall title and the Iron Cup title for this man, for Stephen Earle, who commutes from the States, come to play in the Blancpain GT Sports Club. Oh dear, Frederic Fangio, we saw him have one spin. That was under assistance. This one appears to be all on his own. So the first spin was judged being the fault of Vadim Kurgai. Let's have a little look. It's called All Your Own Work. Again, just not getting the front to turn and getting onto the dusty stuff on the outside. Starting to pray, nothing going on the right-hand side, so he's got away with that, but clearly delaying his progress. So Fangio will drop back down the order all over again. 10 and a little bit minutes to go. 2.8 seconds clear. Is Mackenzie fighting back? Last time around, well, yes, he took a quarter of a second, a third of a second off the race leader, but surely he's left it a little bit on the late side. The race is on. Mackenzie set his best first sector, his best second sector of a lap. And in fact, the second sector alone, he gained 7/10 of a second. And I'm beginning to wonder if Van Glavica's suddenly had a little bit of a problem, because his lap time is down on where it should be. And now what we're getting is suddenly Coach Mackenzie is up on where he should be in terms of pace. He's picking it up. For Patrick Van Glavica, nearly 4.3 seconds clear last time around. What's it going to be this time? Crossing the start-finish line, it's 2.27. Fastest lap of the race for Coach Mackenzie. Was he playing with us? Well, he's certainly doing the hunting right now. 2.2. An advantage of almost exactly 2 seconds he gained last time around on the race leader, Patrick Van Glavica. Luigi Lucchini also gained on the overall leader. So we have 10 seconds covering our top three cars, but right now really it's all eyes on the green. Number 17 Lamborghini from HP Racing International from Coach Mackenzie. Fastest lap of the race last time around. So he was the one who saved his tyres. Can Patrick Van Glavica respond? Well, he has. He just set a slightly faster first sector than Coach Mackenzie. Oh, Coach, he's pushing on hard. You can see the front of the Lamborghini washing out a little bit as the track drops away out of turn 5. He's putting the power down. You can see it washing away, then finding the grip he needed, but it is a fine balance. Waiting for the second sector time to be completed, which should be fairly soon, and there's been a good response from Patrick Van Glavica. He's just set his fastest run through that, so maybe it was a case he sat on that lead of about 3 seconds and was cruising a little bit, had it all under control, and as soon as he gets a little bit of a chase from Coach Mackenzie, well, a lot of a chase, it was 2 seconds gained last time around. In both of the first 2 seconds, by tiny margins, Patrick Van Glavica has lapped just that little bit faster than Coach Mackenzie, so Coach has got to think about this and press on all over again. Press he will. 7 3/4 minutes remaining. 2.2 seconds down last time around. It might be 2.3, 2.4, this time 2.495 seconds, so all 3 sectors of the lap by small margins, all the same. But Patrick Van Glavica making good an escape. When all had looked settled, it clearly wasn't. The previous lap from Coach Mackenzie, absolutely fantastic. Fastest lap of the race. Couldn't quite equal it that time around, but the response has come from Van Glavica. And in the background of the shot, I just noticed Karim. He's just been dragged out of that gravel bed. He's lapsed down, but he has just set the fastest lap of the race, and he's done so by a margin of next closest thing to half a second. So a huge gain for the Saudi driver, but he's in 17th and last position. He won't last much longer. He'll overtake the 991 Porsche, still sitting in the pit lane, Edward Lewis-Branner, possibly just waiting to see the reaction of his teammate Jürgen Hering, who he tipped into a spin down at turn 2. But there it is, 2.359 seconds. So the middle part of the lap's been slightly better for Coach McKenzie. Here's Angelique de Tavernier, number 55. Worked her way back to 8th position overall. But there in the background of the shot is Karim. He said, OK, I've been spun into the gravel, I'm back on the track, I want to see this lead battle. Yesterday he was part of it, chasing down the 17 Lamborghini. Today he's just playing the watching brief. But the 17 Lamborghini of Coach McKenzie is behind the race leader, Patrick Van Glavica, and the clock is counting down 6 and a bit minutes remaining. He's sitting on an advantage of 2 and a bit seconds. Can he defend that? I'd say at this form he most certainly can. Yes, he's had a better second part of the lap than the Lamborghini race. Through turns 14 and 15 they go. What a shame we don't have the wonderful final sweep of old. That chicane does break it up somewhat, but in fact the Ferrari driver looks slightly better through it. 2.7 seconds clear, so he stretches his advantage, gains a quarter of a second. And of course, Karim won't be able to sort of get in and affect this battle. I think he just simply wants to be out there running with the fast drivers at the front, and he lowers the fastest lap to an even lower level, 1 minute 47.3 seconds, so he's absolutely flying. Yes, OJ appears to be having no problems at all. He's lapping a second and a half faster than Coach McKenzie. And Coach must be thinking, OK, you can watch, but just don't interfere. I'm trying to chase down Patrick Van Glavica. And you can see how hard Karim was pushing into turn 5, the front of the car, washing away as he put the brakes on. Brakes a bit harder, eventually found some grip, but slightly compromising his own first sector there. May just allow Coach McKenzie a tiny bit of breathing space so he can concentrate on what he's trying to do, which is hunt down Patrick Van Glavica. Van Glavica leading the race, but it may be as much as 3. It could go out to 3 seconds clear, 2.863 is the gap between Van Glavica and Coach McKenzie. Suddenly, traffic in the middle order. There's Angelique de Tavernier. Right on the turn of Dylan Tamala-Magua. Of course, she was in and around there. Well, slightly ahead of there when she had to serve the drive-through penalty, but de Tavernier tucking into the job in question. This is the battle for 7th place on the track. Up ahead of them, they've got Roberto Ranieri. He's a lap down. But Tavernier looks... well, you can see when no traffic's in the way, she can take chunks out of Malagamua. Claude Gosselin just making a move to lap Roberto Ranieri and almost comes to a stop on the curve on the inside. Didn't want to have a clash into turn 10. That's allowed Malagamua to get much closer. And in turns, Angela Di Tavernier right on the tail of the Sri Lankan as well. Ranieri stays out of the way in the Gullwing Mercedes. That's very good indeed. So Ranieri proving to be not just a gentleman racer, but a gentleman when racing as well. So he keeps out of the way. He's had that ongoing battle with Jean-Paul Buffin. As I said, in fact, Buffin's lost an awful lot of ground as the race leaders and even the midfield picking their way past. 2 Lamborghinis, don't forget earlier in the race they both ran wide to let the Porsches through. By mistake down at turn 10, this battle between Claude Gosselin and Malagamua all rejoined. All but one of the 17 starters still running into the final 2.5 minutes. The race, only Edward Lewis-Branner, who started his Porsche from 4th on the grid, had a spin early in the race and then a further spin after contact with his teammate. So he's parked in the pit lane, everyone else out on the circuit. Fast and furious battling. They've only got a few more minutes in which to try and complete these moves. This is the battle. 6th, 7th and 8th. Gosselin, Malagamua and de Tavernier. De Tavernier has the pace to go past, but she's got to find the gap in which to do it. And at the front of the race, Patrick Van Glavica still on his almost traditional margin of advantage, 2.8 seconds. That's where it was before he stretched it, then a close-in from Coach McCanty, and then he's managed to challenge every push forward from McCanty, and he's got it back to 2.8 seconds. Now, is this easier for de Tavernier to try and make a passing manoeuvre? There were two Lamborghinis together. Now she's just got the one of Malagamua, who's just a little bit off the tail of Claude-Yves Gosselin. But actually, maybe in some ways, having the two of them fight ahead of her might have had them both preoccupied and allowed de Tavernier to make a move while they were having their own battle. But right now, it's a little bit more pure, I would say, this battle. 20 laps on the board, 2.7 seconds to good. Patrick Van Glavica leading Coach McCanty. Ferrari ahead of Lamborghini. And 1 minute remaining until the checkered flag can be unfurled. So I think we'll just complete this lap and have one more around the circuit. Look at exactly where our man is. There he is, 488 Ferrari in the final sector. Coach McCanty in second place, being shadowed, not necessarily bothered, but he certainly can feel the pressure from Karamojay, who's laps down, having been sitting in a gravel bed before rejoining. But there, through turns 14 and 15, going past Frederic Fangio's Ferrari, is our race leader, going on to what will be the start of his final lap. His advantage will be, I think, even slightly greater than 2.8 seconds. 21 laps on the board. Coach McCanty comes through behind 3.3 seconds, so a half-second gain. Well, that's more than enough, and Frederic Fangio is between the first and second place cars. The Ferrari ahead of the Lamborghini, with that second Ferrari in between Frederic Fangio. Two spins in the race, one with an assistance from Vadim Kogai, and one all of his own making down at turn 2. Through turn 3, the long sweeper again. Karamojay looks better than the rival, but this isn't a rival's position. This is just this is where he got it wrong last time. He came down to turn 4, went on the outside line, found it too dusty, went off into the gravel. This time, Coach McCanty's just thinking, you're not in my race, go through if you must. So on this, the final lap, a little bit of a twitch there on the downhill exit from turn 5 for our race leader, but he managed to get it under control. Patrick Van Glavica leading by 3.3 seconds. Doesn't matter if it comes down to 1.3 seconds on this lap, just got to stay in front, and it looks though he's good enough to do that job very well indeed. Behind, fighting all the way to the finish, 6th and 7th, the two Lamborghinis, Claude-Yves Gosselin, Delenta Malamagua, tucked in behind Angelique de Tavernier, and not so far behind her, Vadim Kogai in the bright green Rinaldi Racing Ferrari. A really lovely, clear track through turns 10, 11, now up to turn 12, running flat across the one of the high points of the circuit, and down into turn 13 to the right-hander, down to the fiddly chicane, the left, the right, of turns 14 and 15, and then it's about just waiting for it, then putting the throttle down, getting the car balanced, and accelerating through the final corner of the lap, the final corner of the 2018 Blancpain GT Sports Club season. The victory in the final round will go to this man, to Patrick Van Glavica. He can back off, his advantage can come down, it matters not, the victory is in the bag. Coach McCanty, in fact, lost a little more ground on the next lap, 3.59 seconds in arrear. Of course, he was passed by Karamojay, and just waiting for Luigi Lucchini to come through in third place, and so he does. But here comes the Iron Cup champion for 2018, the man with more enthusiasm for racing than almost anyone. He saved his final lap, his best lap for last, coming through in fourth place, Stephen Earle. Yep, best lap of the race, peaking at the end of the season. He takes the Iron Cup from Klaus-Dieter Frez, who should be coming up across the line. Yes, Klaus-Dieter Frez has crossed it as well. But lights are flashed, the two Ferraris together, the all red car with a black roof. Well, there's a contradiction of Stephen Earle, and the red Artega Rennsport Ferrari with the white and blue stripe up its bonnet and over the roof of Klaus-Dieter Frez. So Iron Club victory in the race and across the course of the season to Stephen Earle. And just waiting for the Lamborghinis to come through. Couldn't get much closer than they are at the finish. Claude-Yves Gosselin just ahead of Delenta Malamagua. And also Vadim Kogai got ahead of Angelique de Tavernier, but I'm waiting for Tavernier has come through. She lost ground on that final lap. Yes, you can see the green Ferrari ahead of the red, but good charge there. It's great to have the two Lamborghinis fighting together in the middle of the pack there. So, exemplary performance, brilliant start from Patrick Van Glavica. I feared he might have braked too late in his quest to stay ahead of Coach McKenzie on the run down to the first corner, but he managed to negotiate the right-hander and continued on his way for a great win here. You can hear the applause, in fact the ambient sound from the cameras around the circuit, so the fans all enjoyed that, and it really will wet their whistle for when GT3 cars are out for the 3-hour race, the final round of the Blancpain Endurance Cup for 2018. But there it is, an advantage of 3.6 seconds between friends, between Patrick Van Glavica in his Ferrari and Coach McKenzie in his Lamborghini. Luigi Lucchini started 5th up to 3rd, good race for him. And Stephen Earle, the Iron Cup winner this afternoon here in Barcelona, just ahead of Klaus-Dieter Freres, and that was enough to give him the title, the Iron Cup for 2018. Wonderful battle for the Lamborghini, Claude Gosselin and Delanta Malamagua. Vadim Kogai, well, he'll be brewing the facts. As you can see, he closed right up, but he had a drive-through penalty, as did Angelique de Tavernier. And Jürgen Hering should have been higher, but that spin down at turn 2 really cost him very dearly indeed. 16 of the runners of the 17 starters made it to the finish, and the one who finished 16th, Karim Ojay, the driver who set the pace throughout 2018. So he'd have enjoyed the fact he got to the end, but frustrated by the spin when he was fighting Lucchini for 3rd place. Perfect weather conditions at the circuit for Catalunya Barcelona. Patrick Van Glavica has already parked up under the podium. Coach McKenzie brings his lurid green black Lamborghini in alongside, and the second of the Ferraris, Luigi Lucchini for BMS Scuderia Italia, 3rd place. And Patrick Van Glavica should be very proud of that drive. That was he had a good start yesterday and ended the day 3rd overall after being out-muscled by Karim Ojay, but today he got into the lead and really just had everything under control. As soon as Coach McKenzie put in a couple of quick laps to close right on his tail, he thought, oh, hello, I've got to wake up here, and did exactly what he needed to do, and stroked it home at the end of the race. Because in terms of pace, their best laps are only a tenth of a second apart, so just showed how equal it was, and therefore it exaggerates, well, it doesn't, it exemplifies how strong a performance it was from Patrick Van Glavica. So the Belgian racer should be very happy indeed. Off with the sunglasses, off with the helmet, and out with the smile, one would feel. So good to see Stefan Rattel, the founder of the SRO that runs all of the Blancpain series, that creates them. It's a huge weekend here, lots of announcements last night. Look on the Blancpain GT website and you'll find out all the changes for next year. But the Blancpain GT Sports Club grows and grows, and it's just as big as the smiles below the podium. But let's go down to hear from our race winner, Patrick Van Glavica with Dakota.
Patrick, congratulations! What a fantastic race that was.
Finally, I've been doing every GT Sports Club race from the first one here in Barcelona. That I should have won one race, but I didn't have the experience to finish it. Last year it was my objective to win a main race, which I didn't. I only did a qualifying race, and this year I started the season for the championship, but Karim Ojay was too fast in his BMW, so and I've been unlucky. I made some mistakes, but I wanted to win a main race this year, and this is it, finally.
Congratulations.
Thanks to the team, thanks to Alf Corsi, and thanks to everybody who supported me.
Bravo.
Well, it's good to hear such lovely words of thanks, but what a win today. But the overall championship table at the end, we knew that Karim Ojay was going to come out on top, but Coach McKenzie's strong weekend here moved him up ahead of Mario Cordoni to end the season in 2nd place overall. And Patrick Van Glavica, well, he did all he could, but the results weren't there at the start of the season, but he'll end with that big smile on his face, moves up to 5th place overall. Just couldn't quite overhaul Luigi Lucchini. Stephen Earle, the top Iron Cup runner, in 6th place in the overall table. That is worth taking a hat off to as well. 20 drivers picked up points through the course of the championship, and I think a lot more people will be coming out to play next year when they see just how good the racing is. In the Iron Cup, it's Stephen Earle by just the 2 points, overhauling Klaus-Dieter Freres in the final race of the season. Louis Philippe Sonnen, 3rd overall, in the pack today. But let's take a look back to the start of the race. Look for the 55 Ferrari in the middle of the third row, tries to get into the second row. That would lead to a drive-through penalty for Angelique Tavernier. At this point, it looks as though Coach McCanty had enough down the outside, but up the inside, super late on the bait. Patrick Van Klabbeke, he wanted that race win. He wanted the overall win in the main race, not a qualifying. He wanted the main race, the 40-minute race, and he put on a fantastic performance. Unfortunately, to Tavernier, given a little bit of a rub by Edward Lewis Browner. Round he went. That was his first compromise in the race, but not his last. And he was fighting very hard indeed with his teammate Jürgen Hering, trying to get past the two Lamborghini Gallardos and finding the track a little bit busy. For Vadim Kogai, unfortunately, he tipped Fangio into the spin and was given a drive-through penalty. The two Porsches said thank you very much as the Lamborghinis fell over themselves. And this is the moment that this year's champion, Karim Oj, just went a little bit wide at turn 4, fighting Luigi Lucchini. Round he went. And then Klaus-Dieter Freundlich was saying, you can imagine in his mind saying, just get off my tails, guys. I'm trying to win the Iron Cup. The two Porsches went for a clash, but nobody could hold a candle to Patrick Van Klabbeke today. He had a target for this season. He wanted to win the main race, and he has done just that. Chased very hard indeed by Coach McCanty. Karim Oj back on the circuit for a cameo role. But the racing went all the way to the finish. But the fourth season of the Blancpain GT Sports Club came to a glorious end with victory for Patrick Van Klabbeke. The lights were flashing. Massive smile. That's it from me. Join us next year.